Hello, hello everyone. How do you feel today? Warm-up was good? Warm-up was really good. Can you show me how good was the warm-up? Yeah. So happy to be with you. I'm thrilled to be with you in this TV show. My name is Renaud. I'm a sport reporter, and I'm basically the sport reporter with the biggest French accent in the world. And this is done on purpose. You know why? Because the next Olympics will be in France, will be in Paris. And what we will propose you today is to meet the team of Ecoton, preparing to win gold in the next 2024 Olympics. During this next Olympics, we will see blood, we will see toil, tears, and sweat, as per Churchill quotes. But more than anything, we will enjoy victories, pride, world records, and personal and collective achievement. We are here to prepare that. It has been a challenging time since Tokyo. You all know that. And we want now to find out how the team of Ecoton is preparing for the next Olympics, how they plan to grow, how they plan to win the gold. So let me first start by introducing the team Ecoton. You will see, oops, I have the click, like in a real studio. Amazing. We were doing... You know, we saw this morning that technique is important, so we did some saving on the food, but we have all the technique with us. So, can we see the pictures? So, let me introduce now the team of Ecoton. Of course, we will welcome our head coach, Mr. Christophe Barnouin. A round of applause for Mr. Barnouin. And only here, only now, only for you, we also have the chief analyst, Mr. François de Gantès. But we need grace, we need charisma, so we are also lucky to have with us our performance coach, Mrs. Emma Vass. And to win gold, we need power. We need power, and we have our athlete in javelin, Mr. Han van Nieuwelen. Power is nice. Power is nice, but you need strength in the long run. And for that, we have our athlete in long jump, Mr. Brian Martin. But we saw this morning that you can't win without science. So we have the science expertise. He's ready to jump. Let me introduce our chief nutritionist, Abdelaziz Salah. But we also saw that some of the great coaches are empathetic coach. So let me introduce our well-being coach, Mr. Standard Commandant. And we need to finish by the sponsors. No Olympics without sponsors, without advisor. So please, let me celebrate with you the resilience of our sponsors, Mr. Benoît Nadol, Mr. David Carré, and Mr. Ike Melhop. So let's start with our head coach, please. Christophe, can you tell us a bit more why we are here finally?
Why are we here? You know, when I listen to you, Renaud, I still wonder why we are here today. But and I remember Benjamin saying this morning that diversity was fantastic in the team. And maybe we have too much of that, no? But seriously, I just want to start. So Renaud nicely introduced the lead team, okay? But just want to make sure the athletes are in the room, okay? As you know, there are no other people than you in this room that are going to lead this organization, okay? We take some decision from time to time, but you lead the work on an everyday basis with your teams, okay? No one else in the company doing that. So these are the people in this room that are accountable for the performance, but as well for the purpose, okay? Because before you engage into games, you engage because you have chosen as well to have some impact in your work, okay? That's what I have chosen. That's the mission of the company.
Thank you. Thank you, Christophe. This is brilliant. So let's move on.
Merci, Renaud. Shall I continue then? Okay, so what I would like to do is that before we go to the Paris Olympic, is just to propose you a bit of reflection over what has happened since the past Olympic, because since the past Olympic, a lot has happened, not sure exactly in the good way. But like any game starts, you have a plan, and then things happen, so you need to acknowledge what happened. So what happened, frankly, COVID has changed the world. Not sure it's for the better. We had a supply crisis, we saw that. We had after a lot of mess in terms of labeling of good for you, so in which organic is no longer seen as the best label, even if it is. We had a massive inflation, okay? Food has inflated 20% over the past 2 years. We had not known that in our working life. And it resulted in new shoppers' behavior, mostly down trading, but as well going to new channels, okay? So that's what happened. And I spare you the fact that we are now 2 wars not so far away from here.
So as we say in French, il y a eu du sport, right?
Yes, there has been some sport, as you said. It has been very sporty. Just don't want to bore you with numbers, but just for you to know, we have a large business in France dependent on organic food. And what it shows is that organic food has been growing for the past two decades at a rate of around 5 to 10%, and it has been declining over the past 2 years at a rate of 10%. Okay, that is very new. So in our game plan, we will see that we need to adapt a bit, and that's what we did over the years. But as well, we continued. We had some great achievement, and I'd like to recognize that, because if we are in this room being able to organize this kind of event, it's probably because we still have some money left. Why? Because you guys have done a fantastic job in core categories. You know, we have moved the turnover like nearly 100 million euro over 19 by focusing on 5 key categories. And Brian, our long jump athlete, will tell you more later with that. We have been quite successful in new spaces. We have caught up we have been doing more than caught up the delay we had in e-commerce, you know. And there's been a fantastic job done. So Han and Emma will tell you what we have done there as well in new channels. The team has done a fantastic work in terms of generating more productivity in the company to fuel the growth, okay? There has been a massive gain. And if we are going to hit our budget this year, it's not so much because we overachieved the growth. We are not very far away from the growth, and we may make it. But it's as well because the savings generated were well done. And as well, we have moved our purpose in action. We are quite proud to be recognized the best food company as when B Corp is concerned. Okay, so that's very nice. High.
Christophe, this is really. You know that I'm paid to do the transition, so I will still do one in here. I have a brief, huh? Okay, so this is amazing achievement, honestly. As we say in Italy, bravissimo alla squadra. Can you give us a bit more on the results of all this great work?
These were the results, my dear Renaud?
No, this one.
Ah, this one, you mean. You mean more result in market share? Okay, fine. No, we have, just to point out that this result is made that if we don't have the growth from a volume growth, we need to gain market share. It's very simple, okay? If you want, we still need to grow. And that's what we have been doing in most of our categories. Over the past years, we have launched peanut butter successfully across Europe. On veggie meals under Tanoshi and Tartex, we have grown massively. Breakfast cereal has been doing very, very well in France, to be honest, not so much in the other countries so far. Tea is a big, big win. Okay, we are making Clipper a global brand and a leading brand, wherever we operate, and that's a fantastic thing that we have done for the brand, but as well for the purpose, because this is the purpose in action, And dairy alternative, our main category, has been doing not so well in France, but frankly, reasonably well in the rest of Europe.
So there are very good results, and as our German friends are usually saying, sehr gut Spiel gemacht.
Oh. Excellent.
But still, it has been a tough game. So can you tell us a bit more about the law, please?
Yeah. As you know, we didn't have a quiet journey, a quiet game. So we have been growing much less than what we thought. We're still growing versus 2019. Not so many companies are in this situation, but much behind what we thought. And basically, the growth that we achieve it with a 15% price increase over 2 years. So the conclusion means that we have been selling 10% less in volume, and that's a big concern for us all, specifically when you have a couple of factories behind. Okay, you are not achieving productivity over every year. That's not what you can do. You need to feed the factory, grow back in volume. Our gross margin has gone backward, okay, because not everywhere have we been able to price up as quickly as it was needed. And to be honest, to protect the company, we have been reducing the investment seriously. Not like what we would do, but we are not investing enough around our brands. That's the laws.
Thanks a lot, Christophe. Thanks for this very transparent and clear diagnosis. So I would like all of you to welcome with me our unique chief analyst.
Well, thank you, Renaud, and sorry, I should say the reporter, the head of report. How did you call yourself?
Well, the clown
before? Yeah. Well, anyway, the reporter.
Something like the clown of the team, or
exactly. So the Olympics reporter. So do you know why we selected Annecy at the city to be here? Do you know why? Well, look at the shape of this graph.
Wow.
It's like a mountain, okay? It's like a mountain. So we thought, okay, the best place to represent what has happened over the last few years is Annecy, okay? That was just a joke, of course, because we would have preferred to go to the moon, maybe, but that's another story. So let me, in my own words, say what has happened since 2019. And you remember in 2019, we were also in a meeting, the WeConnect meeting, where basically the theme was let's make the boat go faster, faster, lighter, more efficient, etc., etc. It's exactly, whenever you think about it, what has happened over the last beginning of this process here. So in 2019, we launched a number of initiatives, whether it's 11 or 12, it doesn't really matter, but it was the spirit of the 12 and the 11, where basically we said, let's go for growth, let's reallocate some of the costs basically on A&P, on people, etc. And it's exactly what we did to go through these super interesting and super interesting times, as it was described by Christophe a few minutes ago. Of course, we were heavily helped by the COVID, let's be realistic, as a tailwind. But then here, you see very clearly the very strong headwinds of inflation. We have managed to go through those storms, because it's really a storm, it's crazy what has happened over the last few years, in quite a decent way. So at the end of the day, you see that, and here we don't picture the budget, but here are the final numbers. But for the first time over the last 2 years, we are going to be better than the budget, okay? So the numbers that you see here in 2023, we are going to be super close to 690 and super close to 73, 74. So we can be very proud. Now, if we continue the journey, okay? If we continue the journey, we are here, okay? And the target is to go back up here. It's exactly, whenever you think about it, what we were saying 4 years ago in 2019. We were here, and we wanted to be basically up here, up until, well, this situation happened. So the super good news, that I see in this picture, is that, one, the target is to simply do what we have already done. Yes, with a strong tailwind, but still with a much better situation than before. Why? Because we are lighter, we are more efficient, and we have gone through those storms in a super nice way, as a team again. Huh? So this is very interesting, very nice, and of course it's going to be explained a little bit more in detail by Brian, sorry, I should say, exactly. So basically it's going to be, but we have a very clear path. Now, in terms of less interesting and more numbers story, and this is not a mountain anymore, even if it is still the same shape, but basically it's the value creation. So the value creation, to make it super simple, is to say, what is the value of the company minus the debt? Okay, it's very simple to make it super simple. And it's those red boxes here. And you see that at the beginning of the process, we did create a massive amount of value. Huh? Then we flipped, we dropped, we entered into a negative zone. So that was, we could say, we went down skiing the slope, huh? But okay, it was not exactly what we wanted to do. And at the end of the day, by 2026, we are supposed to go back to the level where we wanted to be. So, quite interesting journey, quite interesting challenge. And again, me, what do I think? I really believe in this plan. Why? Because we are all here, we will be all fighting in the same direction. We are a super great team, and we are in a much better shape than already 2 or 3 or even 4 years ago. So that was what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you, our chief analyst. Honestly, it's an amazing ambition. But we all believe in it, and I think we saw the high, we saw the low, we saw the results, we saw the level of ambition. So could we wrap up, Christophe, on the key learnings of the journey so far, please?
Absolutely, Mr. Journalist. And as you remember about what Benjamin said nicely, okay, this morning you can win or you can lose a game, but in every situation it's better to learn from it, okay? So we have been learning a lot, or we had the opportunity to learn a lot, frankly, and I can share that. In the let's say mid last year in 22, we were completely hit by the inflation and the fact that, as you saw, we believe we were sitting on a great victory, and we fall miserably a couple of months after that. So what did we learn from it together with the team? And what conclusion did we take, and what plan did we change? So that's what I'm going to tell you about. Seriously, we are not going to win everywhere, okay? So we have decided to focus on 5 categories. The rest can still exist in the portfolio. It's perfectly fine, but they will deserve less resource than the one that we believe can help us to go to the finish line. In any case, we need to, what we call politely, stabilize the contribution of our drainers, which means that the things that don't go well, they need to stop doing poorly. And I know that in every businesses, and the Renault every day has to fight with a market going down and stores that are closing, and has been doing a massive job in improving his business to stabilize really declining activity. And that's super difficult. We need to quickly adapt and prove a bit of agility in selling our product in alternative sales channel and geography, you know? So when Clipper goes into food service, it's fantastic. But probably there needs to be some work to be done quickly before someone else takes that space. Communicate the purpose in a meaningful way and in a way that consumers understand. And there's nothing better than to see that the purpose is embedded in the brand. So, you know, Clipper with no plastic, Clipper in fair trade and organic, and more Clipper, that's fantastic. And as well, we continue to drive efficiencies. We have learned to be very, very efficient, okay? It's no longer the time that, oh, I don't like you, you don't like me, I should believe we should do this way or this way. No, sorry. We have decided to take one way of achieving things, and we will go all together after that. So that's what we learned. And when we learned, together with the team, we formed a plan, which you have already seen, based on 5 key pillars for the ambition that François mentioned to you. It's again growing big bets, but growing seriously big bets, so at 6% plus, or going seriously after new channel and geography, and the team will tell you what we have already done about that. Not forgetting the purpose. if we can cruise above 120 points on B Corp, we can keep at a distance our competitors. We continue the productivity project. And again, we are going and we are a bit careful with the teams. So it's my role, it's your role as well with your teams, okay? We are very, very conscious that the 2 past years, for us all in this room, and for everyone from the warehouse, in a factory, as a sales rep, whoever you want, or an admin, it has been very tough, okay? So we need to keep our people with us.
So Christophe, to reach such ambition, we have some steps. There is a key milestone next year, 2024. Can you share a bit more about the context?
So that's great to have an ambition, but as you say, you know, a vision without action, it's just an hallucination. So before preparing for the next game of this year, we need to be. We are very, very aware of the context of this year specific. I was planning for deflation in 24. Was completely wrong. I was not alone, but completely wrong. There will be no deflation next year, no serious deflation next year. Though our trade partners, as we call them, our customer expect us that we decrease price. We're not going to decrease price. That's impossible. We do expect, by the way, the people in charge here of cost of goods decrease their price because that's how we are going to win. But seriously, we are in a situation that is quite tense. Is that we don't have any maneuver to put our prices down. So all you guys and the sales team have done a brilliant work in trying to lower some prices while keeping others good. Okay. So we have a pressure from the trade to go down. We don't believe it's going to be a UP and fantastic positive mindset all over Europe. Okay. The consumer confidence is still low. And as a result of that, we know that the down trading, down scaling is continuing. We have some positive in the context, is that we still believe that we will be able to decrease our cost of goods, not massively by 10%, but like 2 to 3, we will be more than happy, okay? So that's the target that Abdelaziz that the team has taken. And on the positive side, because of all the effort that the sales guys have done to pass prices, we have what we call a carryover, which is the period that you will enjoy having a higher price than last year, next year. That's 9 million of money that goes directly to the bottom line. It's fantastic. And we are still observing that the other channel is developing quite well. Okay, so we are continuously going after this wide pace. That's what we're going to do. So that's basically the context. And then if I move on the targets, okay? So what's the game? This game this year is going, we would be happy, all of us, if we go a 2% growth, so like more, let's go back above 700 plus million euro as a company. The gross margin is going to be a top priority because we have a unique opportunity to reverse the gross margin because of mix and price carryover and COGS decrease. That will be fantastic because then we can spend more money after our brands. And we would love, we will feel very happy if we reach 78 million euro EBITDA because we will be able to progress on the journey in terms of profit development and slightly what we call deleverage, so lower the level of debt of the company. Okay, so that's my ambition. I'd like to share that ambition with you. You need to know in full transparency that the budget we have contracted and you will be slightly lower. Okay, so it will be more like 1% growth and 75 million target. So that we don't, but let's aim big. Let's look at that ambition and let's see how we are going to.
Yeah, Christophe. So your ambition is our ambition, but please tell us how we will go there.
Thank you, Renaud. I find that for a guy that slept at 4 a.m., you're doing very well.
I eat organic only.
Okay.
And a bit of quinoa today.
Yeah. An organic vodka as well, probably. So then seriously, when we did the plan with the team, it's all about the four priorities for our game plan this year. I repeat myself, and you will have a repetition next to that, but we need to score 5% growth on our core categories. And we are going to put more money than last year behind that. So we are going to spend more A&P in 24 than we did in 23. That's not very difficult, but that's what we're going to do. And of course, we will do that because we will do that to, as well, fuel volume for our own factory. They get, of course, top priority. Surprise, surprise, okay? But if we invest for volume and we resist customer deflation, we're going to regain gross margin. As long as we have a successful cost of goods deflation and negotiation with our dear supplier, we want 1.1% gross margin more this year. That's the plan, and the plan is not me waking up say, oh, I would like 1% gross margin, but it's real your plans that have been put together. We will continue the productivity at 7 million euros, and we will be careful on cash conversion. You know, cash conversion is from EBITDA to cash flow. There are stuff happening like the working capital, the capex, and the tax that we pay and the interest rate that we have. But before that, I think this conversion is very important. You do remember that as a goal, we also have a goal to generate cash flow. Okay, it's specifically in crisis time like we have. It's very important to stay alive. And we are very conscious, and we put that as a priority about how can we continue to drive the purpose in a difficult situation and to drive the motivation of the team. Okay, so that will be a commitment. We don't like having more than 10% people leaving the company on their own like that. So we will take that as an action, and as well, as we discussed yesterday, we will probably take targets about what we call CSRD, so our compliance to proper CSR. So these are going to be the 4 priorities that are going to make a success.
Very clear. Hope. Very clear. Thank you. Thank you to the head coach. As we say in French, la pente est raide, mais la route est droite. So it will be a tough game, but we believe in it. And we will now dig a bit more some of the subject. And of course, everything starts with growth. So I would like to call our long jump athlete, Mr. Brian Martins. By the way, Brian knows also how to jump high, but here we said just jump long, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Renaud. Thank you. Thank you.
So can you tell us a bit more about the growth bets?
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry. Go ahead. I did it in the same time as you. Yes.
Yeah, sure, Renaud. So I want to talk to you about growth big bets. So obviously it's been, as the head coach said, it's been a challenging last few years since Tokyo. We've had a number of headwinds come our way and a few injuries in the team. But I'm happy to say 2023, we're delivering some very good results and preparing ourselves ready for a 2024. And we need to make big strides of growth. So, you know, we're targeting for 2024 in Paris to win gold. And, you know, as the head coach said, 5 meters is the target. That's what we're aiming for. So 5% growth. But does anyone know what the world record is for the long jump? Does anyone know? Just shout out. How many meters? Yes, 8.9 meters. So I think what would be a nice target and aspiration for the team would be let's go for 9% growth on the growth big bet. So are you with me for 9% growth?
Hey!
Yes, yes. And do you want to ask me a question, Renaud, or you just want to sit down?
I mean, if you don't spoil my transition like the head coach, I will do my job.
By my performance.
You know,
so let me carry on.
Please go on.
Yeah, why not? So we've been working on a couple of things at Team Ecotone for to win the long jump and to get gold. A couple of things on that. As you know, on the long jump, it's all about the approach. You have 40 meters of track to get to the highest speed possible before you hit that ball, take off, land in that sand, and get a bit of sand in your mouth. So that takeoff is absolutely key. And what do you need in that takeoff? I tell you what, you can't perform and get to the highest speeds eating fried eggs at breakfast every day, I can tell you that. No, what you need is good nutrition. You need quinoa for lunch every day. That's what we do. That's what we do here. We have quinoa, we have some sweet desserts, and we drink some awful trifle drinks of cocktails. But more than just the nutrition to perform at that speed, you also need focus. And that's what we're going to do next year. We're going to continue that focus on 5 core categories, as the head coach said. DA, breakfast cereals, tea, veggie meals, peanut butter. We're going to focus on them. We're going to drive growth, and that's going to get us to break the world record. But it's not just the focus on the approach to take off on that table. When your foot hits the board, you need the takeoff. And how are we going to take off? Well, you're going to see later on today and tomorrow the plans that we have regarding fueling our brands, the new marketing activations that we have across Bjorg and Clipper, our 2 biggest brands in our portfolio. And we have some exciting plans that the team are going to take you through on that. We also have innovation that the sales guys are going to have so much to sell. It's going to be phenomenal. We've got innovation playing on pleasure, on nutrition, on sugar. There's a huge amount of innovation, and you'll get to taste some of that stuff tomorrow, which is super exciting. So we're feeling really confident to win gold, and we can't wait.
So I guess you have been analyzing your performance, no? A bit more in detail.
He's working now. He's working up. So this is good. So these are the numbers. Our analyst provided us some details on our performance and what we're trying to achieve. You can see here by category what we're trying to do, the 5%, but we're now saying that's 8 or 9, which would be brilliant. And you can see some of the numbers that we want to achieve by category, which are, good ambitions for us. And if we can achieve that, sure, we can hit gold next year.
Great. And so where to invest as a focus?
Yes. Well, as the head coach said earlier, we've been disinvesting for our brands and categories over the last few years. So much so that I can't afford training gear and I have to wear jeans. So we know that we are going into next year with more investment. We've secured more investment for the games, 4.4 million euros. No, let's do that again. 4.4 million euros.
Yeah!
Yeah, that's what I thought. So you're probably asking me, Renaud, where we're investing that. So I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So on the chart on the left, you have the investment and where we invest that media across different touch points. So you have here digital, you have here shopper spend, so what we spend in terms of point of sale and displays, etc. And what you can see is big pluses here, here, and here. And basically the 3 areas we choose to invest is 1, digital, because we know the consumers are in digital, and that's where we need to reach them. That's where we need to be there with our brands. The second part, which is this big chunk here, is TV. TV is still a big vehicle for us, particularly for Bjorg, as one of our big brands in France, and that will continue investment there. And then on e-commerce, we know we've seen huge growth on e-commerce over the years, and we're looking to invest more and more in e-commerce, just over 1 million going into next year on retail media, and Emma and the team will talk a lot about that later. And then in terms of brands, and how we spend that extra money. We put it against the two big brands of the business. So we put against Bjorg, we invest about 80% of that 4.4 million against Bjorg and Clipper Kappa next year. So really trying to fuel those priorities that we talked about before.
This is great. You are gorgeous. The plan is gorgeous, my friend. So I really wish you and all the team a lot of success. Brilliant. We were talking about what we do on our current field. And what about maybe new field? So I would propose you to welcome now on the stage Mr. Han van Newland and Mrs. Emma Vaster.
By the way, Mr. Reporter, just a question. Did you check on dope? On the trainers? Ridiculous.
Not yet. So, please, can you... Okay, so yes. So we are so happy to welcome both of you. The strength and the grace, the power and the charisma. So what about what we will do in the next perimeter? Can you take us through this, please?
Yeah, so as a performance coach, it's really important that we're clear on our strategy and our technique. So there's high expectations on e-com. Before Tokyo, we didn't have a strategy in place. And we decided to get our eyes on Tokyo, get a clear strategy in place and clear priorities. Worked really well, 21% growth in 21. So we need to continue focusing on that technique with our clear strategy and priorities, and also put power behind it. Make sure that we've invested in the retail media an extra 1 million, so 2 million going behind e-com, and having the teams both globally and locally in place to really help drive that. and also going into new geographies.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Now it's working. So also new geos, as you just saw. I'm standing also a bit next to you. Otherwise it's equal. So also new geos and out of home, because as you just saw, growth in grocery will be flattish or slightly higher, slightly positive. So really focusing on expanding our footprint by focusing on out of home and new geos. Out of home has multiple benefits. First of all, visibility. It's not only net revenue, but clear visibility. It's wide space for us, so it's, you know, it's there to grab. And profitability-wise, it's very nice. So basically 3 points where we really want to focus on that. Secondly, as the team will discuss later today, also really focus on expanding our footprint. We say we are, you know, the sustainable leader in Europe. If you are really positive, we are. If you are a bit more conservative, like being a bit Dutch, we are really good in a couple of countries. So, you know, take Nordics, where you have 27 million people, 2 countries, Sweden and Denmark, which has over 10% of all sales are organic, and we are hardly present. So there we formed a team. Michael will go through that and really see what is needed to be successful there. Currently 5 million. You know, Vision LA 2028, 15 million, as our chief analyst is saying to us. But for now, 10% growth, and the team will go through it later today. And on e-com.
Yeah, so e-com continues to be a key priority for us. Out of the 15 million growth that Brian showed, over 5 million of that is going to go through e-com. So it's predicted to continue to be a key growth driver. And we've got really clear strategy on that. It's about winning with the winners, number one priority being Drive or Click and Collect. Also continuing the great momentum we've got on Amazon. There's been an amazing launch of Amazon in the US, performing really strongly, and actually across all markets, even Germany where it was small. So winning with the winners, getting more from our core. So having bespoke packs, being really clear on getting the basics right on e-com, and smashing that 10% growth.
Super, outstanding. Very inspiring ambition and plan. Thanks for that. Okay, and so now let's make it happen. And as I say in Netherlands, appeltje, eitje, we gaan ervoor. Whoa! So let's now talk a bit about muscles, about nutrition for success, quinoa and all the rest. Please let me welcome our chief nutritionist, Mr. Abdelaziz Salah.
Thank you.
By the way, Salah, like the great football, Egyptian football player?
Yes, he's my cousin.
Okay, so you may know about...
That is the joke.
Ah,
No,
yeah?
he's not.
I liked it.
I'd love to. I'd love
So
to,
you
but
may
he's
know a
not.
lot about Victory, about muscles.
Absolutely,
So please tell us a bit
absolutely.
more
But
about the
before
plan.
we start, I want everyone to give you a hand of applause for being here after what you did last night. It's not easy. But before we start, to be honest, Tokyo was the most boring Olympics ever. I'm looking forward for the next one. So who's going to Paris Olympics? Come on, guys. Where
And
are
you?
we? We're in France, right?
You, as soon as you can buy
going.
tickets.
I'm going. I bought tickets already. So get on and buy your tickets. Yeah, it's going to be the best event of your life. So before we start, I think our head coach has already kind of spoiled my presentation. So I would try to make it as short as possible. I think there are 2 things here. We talk mostly about financial KPIs in this presentation, but we look at the weight, how much are we going to lift, and that requires us to move out of our boxes. I see that we've been put nicely by HR in boxes, but I would challenge you guys, get out of your boxes, because lifting 7 million plus 10 million that we're delivering this year will be an exceptional result that you should be proud of. So first of all, you should be proud of this year, 10 million euros of savings in Fuel for Growth. So well done, everyone around the table. When I first said 10 million euros this year, early in 2023, most people thought I was crazy, including myself, but somehow we've magically landed the 10 million. So now it's only 7. But I'm sure it... You know the trick. It's much more projects, much more hard work, much more sweat to make it this far already and to go for next year.
So where do you want to do these games then?
So we look at the next slide.
Yes.
Sorry, we've practiced very hard last night. So you can see here, those are the main buckets that you always see. This is conversion cost in the factories, our raw and pack material that we use in our transformation process, third-party COGS, the Bouvard, the Castelline, or the Lovely suppliers that we deal with, waste, warehouse and transport, and others. If I look at this, you would wonder, how are we going to get to the 9 million? Do you think we're going to be here end of next year, and we look at this split? Anyone? No, I can tell you that. Because if we know anything, forecast is wrong. I keep saying this. So basically what we need to focus on is to do as much as possible in every single area. And I will close only, I see here we have in agility a gymnast, so I will close by a word I read last week for, this is basically the best gymnast in history ever. And besides Sandrine, who would know her for sure, her name is Simone Biles. So she is the best gymnast in history so far. She's had the most medals, most winnings in the gymnasts sport altogether. And she said something very simple that I looked at it and said, that's why you become an Olympic champion. She said one thing. She said, when people ask me to do 5, I want to do 10. That's what she said. So I leave you with that thought. When Brian wants to do 9, you always try to do more. And I think if we try to do more in every single area, we might not be successful everywhere, but I can guarantee you that overall we will overbeat this challenge and we will do better in 2024.
Abdelaziz, we really all thank you to have given this idea to our head coach. Thanks for that. It will be even more exciting in the future.
I depend on my colleagues.
So yes, can you give us the breakdown? Yes, very good.
So yeah, I think we can skip this one. This is our achievement already we spoke about in Fuel for Growth. And next year, where we need to push harder for our Fuel for Growth agenda. So.
Very good. Thank you. Very ambitious. Do we believe in it? Do we believe we can do that? Yeah. Okay, so as they say, yeah. I saw all guys from MSO said yes, yes, you will do it. Yes, yes. Call it full trust, Abdelaziz. We believe you can do it. No. We will all do it. We will all do it together. And as they say in Spain, venga, por los cojones de mi pato viudo, vamos a hacerlo. Okay, so as we said, no victory without performing an engaged team. So please, a round of applause for our well-being coach, Mr. Standard Kromendam.
Sorry, I just being coach, so I need to check the facts here, but it's going okay. My heart is under control, yes.
Cool.
How are you feeling, reporter?
Well, it's okay.
Yeah, anything?
It's nice.
Anything
Everything
in the way
is clear.
today to be present?
Everything is clear, but I already had the figures before.
Oh, okay,
so
good.
Maybe it's why I understand them. No,
okay, good.
Perfect. But so, tell us about the team. This morning, by the way, our speaker was speaking about team organization and that every victory starts with our people.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely. And yeah, it's really great to see as the well-being coach. By the way, I did not mention to you, but I actually already won Olympic gold. But I come back to that in a moment. So you're in good hands with me. But yeah, it's very encouraging to see that we do like annual check-ins with all the team, how they're feeling. Do they feel well? Do they feel okay? Are they proud of what they do? Do they share with each other? And yeah, we increased the score everywhere this year, and with overall 74%. So that's, I'm quite happy with that. But having said that, as I already told you, I already, of course, have coached many athletes from around the world before Ecotone team asked me to join them. And I was also a little bit shocked because in the Great Place to Work survey, people can give comments and there's insights around remuneration and all kinds of external factors, but I never talked with Maarten van der Weijden about that. My top athletes, my performers, they don't care about that. They first perform, and then they win, and then they earn. It's not the other way around. So I thought perhaps it's nice to share with this group of people what he has done to be successful and win gold actually a few years ago. So perhaps we can share a little video on that.
Of course, you think about winning that gold medal, but what I really liked is increasing myself and challenging myself and to becoming better and to become faster. I swam around 7 hours a day. 70 to 100 kilometers a week. And the fun thing is, because when I tell people this, they always ask me, well, Maarten, this must have been a horrible year. How did you cope with that? And I always tell them that the weird thing is that I really enjoyed. I feel pain when people say, well, you fought cancer and you won. And I feel that pain because when I think back to that period in the hospital, I was the most lazy patient you can imagine. And there were lots of fellow patients and they were not as lazy as I was. I'm the only patient in that hospital room that's still alive. And then to tell you, hey, I fought cancer and I won, it doesn't feel fair to my fellow patient in that hospital bed. And the only thing that I can do with the luck I had recovering from cancer is to do those crazy things with swimming for 3 days to hopefully increase the luck and increase the chance for future patients. In my first attempt in 2018, I did not achieve. I had to quit after 53 hours of swimming. A year later, in 2019, I did manage to swim 200 kilometers. It took me 74 hours. So I slept for 3 hours a day. And there was a small boat with a tent, and I had an energy gel every 20 minutes, and I had a full meal every 5 hours. And the biggest difference between winning Olympic gold and doing this 11 city tour is that winning Olympic gold was me showing that I was the best swimmer. And this event was helping the cancer patients together. We had like 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 donations, and doing that all together with all those people shouting with this. It was a beautiful experience.
Lennart, what can we learn from this very emotional story?
Yeah, it's absolutely quite inspirational how Maarten has managed that. What you see, he has a very clear mission, a very clear purpose. He wants to raise money for other people swimming. He started off just raising or performing, focusing on himself, which is good. He won gold, but after that, he used that for a wider audience with a very clear plan as well. You heard him talking about the fact that I had to structure a plan and I had to get certain pouches every 20 minutes and sleep in so many hours and eat and so forth. And I failed the first time, but then I got back up and I learned from that and I went for a second time. And none of that, he's talking about external factors. He is all the time talking about himself. And this is the plan I built with him back in the days when we started to work on this. We said, okay, what do we need to really create top performance individually and as a team? Because Maarten may be an individual swimmer, but he needs other people around him, yeah? So we had a coaching group where he could relate to other people, other swimmers that have done something similar. We focused really on his wellness and his physical performance. We also looked at health and mental health. Let's not forget about that. It's not only about the physical health, also about the mental health. We got scientists in with data insights, such as our own chief data analyst, yeah? And we got management that gave him the framework to go in that direction and helped him on things like media and so forth. And it's amazing, he raised over 12 million euros on cancer research, yeah? So it shows that if you have a clear plan, you can get anywhere if you put your mind to it. However, I'm a little bit concerned. Renaud, do you see this?
I recognize it.
One of the concerns is that even though we will end up a little bit better at the end of this year, we still, in previous year, had above 12% attrition. And if you remember, we want to stay below the 10%. It's important. And that's not only for the people in this room, because actually the attrition here is lower, but it's in your teams that people are leaving voluntarily, yeah? And that comes down to leadership, having a plan, remuneration. We come back to that in a moment. Development. Yeah, absolutely, thank you. It's also about, as you've seen from it's about having a plan. Now, I can track all the plans of the Ecotone team. Great. So I went into the system the other day. 874 people can make a plan for themselves, similar to Maarten, create top performance, be part of a team, achieve all these goals, and only a little bit over 100 have done so. 715 Ecotonians have not touched their plan. They don't have a personal plan in place. That is an issue for me. But the good news is I'm going to help, because that's what I'm for here as the well-being coach. So first of all, we are going to help to focus on improving the hygiene factors. And these are important. And I'm talking about remuneration now. Yeah? I'm not going to promise here that everyone will get 15% salary increase next year. Yeah, but we will, of course, we're sensitive to the situation. And in the context of what we can do, within the financial parameters, what we can do, and we've tried to do that consistently every year, we try to adjust where we can. So we take away the hygiene factor that distracts from the main goal, which is the winning the gold. At the same time, what I need from you, all of you here, and with your team, is a laser-sharp focus on your own development and those of your teams. All the tools are in place, starting with goal setting, starting with a proper IDP in place. There's things like 360 degrees feedback, all the tooling, all the formatting, all the coaching is there. I'm there to help you, but it needs to happen. We need to move into action. Focus on efficient collaboration. We are quite a complex organization still across the different countries, even though we have simplified that. But I know that we still need to work towards more working with care with each other. So if you face issues, if you get stuck, pick up the phone, create a workshop, get in a room together and solve it. Developing a true performance culture. We talked with Benjamin this morning around feedback. They eat that for breakfast every day. What is the last time when you gave someone proper constructive feedback? Both on something positive and perhaps also something that they can develop. That's also a form of care. And I'm going to help you with that in the future to become better at that. We're also going to overhaul our performance, let's say EPC system in the future, but I'm going to involve some of you with that because I want to have some of the voices on that topic. And finally, and certainly not last, we're going to try to focus more on well-being. And all the offices, there are great programs around some sports that you can do, or some running, or some subscription. There is already some, let's say, insights and workshops going on what is healthy nutrition. But we're also going to focus on mental well-being in the future. So more of that to come as well. So, and I think that is going to be a winning recipe for the future.
It's great, Standard. Thank you. Please stay on the stage. I would ask, so yes, a round of applause for Mr. Kromendan. We will go for some improvisation here. So if the photographer can be ready, so it's not in your text. So you start to be under stress, but which is positive. Huh? You understood this morning, and you just talked about feedback, giving feedback, and I learned something this morning that I liked a lot. So we will do improvise. I would like you to give me your cheek. Okay. Thank you, Standard. Thank you. Thank you for all what you do on a daily work, but also thank you for this convention. You help us to to share with the team what we want to do, how we want to reach there. It's an amazing organization. Of course, you work with the team, and I'm sure you will find time to thank them, and Sandrine and Alexandra and backstage and so on. You will do your job to thank them when it's time. But there is no great team, there is no great event without a great leader. And you are the leader of this convention. So thank you. So let's wrap up before we would have some Q&A session. So the ambition is clear, plus 2% at minimum net revenue growth. But we see that the more we grow, the more everything else is simple. 30% gross profit, above 78 million euro EBITDA. It's clear, it's sharp, so let's make it now. And I think it's a good moment, of course, to ask our sponsor investors to join us on stage to share some Q&A. So I would like to welcome warmly Mr. Benoît Dadol, Mr. David Carré, and Mr. Eike Melop. Please, a round of applause. And then we would have some Q&A with the room too, of course. But maybe let's start with our sponsors, because without your support, without your money, without your daily dedication, no gold. So what would you like to share with us?
Thank you very much. I can start. So first, this is not a dating show now, yeah? So it's a serious question session now. Yeah, so as a sponsor, so I used to invest in local sports in Germany in football, but to be honest, the prospect and the payback was quite weak, so I thought this is a very interesting journey. But before, I have at least one question to our chief financial analyst. So I heard from the news and also in your numbers that there were certain headwinds in the past months and years, also from the financial markets in terms of interest rates, etc., that hit our business, or hit your business, sorry. What is your perspective on this? What is going to happen in the next periods?
Well, thank you for the very good question, because in fact we didn't mention that before in the presentation, of course on purpose, because we knew you were going to ask. No. No, very seriously, if you remember a little bit, in June 2022, so that was not that long ago, a year and something ago, the interest rate were less than 2%. Okay? Today, they are at 4%. So of course it means that basically the cost of money has more than doubled in 1 year and something, okay, which is absolutely terrible. So for us, for example, very simply, you see the 78 million that is shown here on the EBITDA side, but with 75 million, whenever you pay the taxes, whenever you pay the interest, there is zero left. So basically, to answer your question, just those 4%, because 2 years ago, the interest rate were at zero. So 0 to 4% is costing us 24 million euro per year. 24 million that is just going in the basket, in the garbage. So that is leading for us to do what? Well, to reduce capex, to minimize cost, and to cut everything as much as we can, which is not very easy in this current situation. I hope I did answer your question. Just sorry, one more thing to add. So what does it have as impact on the market outside? Well, immediate impact for some of you. Whenever you are buying a house, you go to see your bank. Before you could afford to buy so many square meters, today you cannot, because basically the cost of money has increased, and therefore the price or the cost of your house has increased. And for some of you who have variable mortgage payback, like in many countries in Europe, in fact, well, the cost of living is decreasing, and because you have to pay more for your banks. That's one. That's on the private side. Now, on the M&A side, whenever we want to go to see a bank, us, Ecotone, if we want to borrow money, since it's costing more, we need to pay back more, and therefore we need to make more profit to basically afford, very simply, to pay that back. So it's not happening, because at the same time it's a big crisis. On the M&A side, whenever you want to sell a company or buy a company, it's exactly the same thing. You need to have a much higher cash flow, basically to be able to pay back that company, that acquisition. And of course, it's almost impossible with the current situation of inflation, etc. So many negative side of that increase. Hopefully now, in June 2024, hopefully, that's at least what some of the analysts, bank and wizards of finance are telling us, it should start to decrease. So hopefully, and that's something I was reading again this week, By the end of 24, we might be back to 2%, okay? So which is divided by 2 already. So again, the 24 million I was talking to you about might go down to 12, reduced from 24 to 12, which is a massive positive impact, of course, for us. But okay, let's cross fingers.
Thank you, François.
All right, so one word I heard a lot during this presentation is headwinds. In fact, I must have heard it like 10 times. And there is one particular headwind that can be creating a little bit of anxiety, is the fact that the organic consumption is forecasted to continue to decrease in the next few years. And my question is, how do we plan to react to this fact?
Thanks, Benoit, for the question, though you could have probably answered this very well. But thank you. Thank you for that question. So, yeah, no, I think it's a question that I get all the time, actually. I would say, you know, if you haven't realised over the past day, well, that light, that's not good standing there. If you haven't realised in the past day, you know, that our mission with regards to organic and plant-based and being a real pioneer in sustainable food isn't as relevant today as it's going to be in 5-10 years' time, then you must have been falling asleep for most of the day. So what we know is that we are playing in the right area. Now, it's true that that consumption has gone down for a number of factors. One, cost of living hasn't helped us, in that pricing has come to the fore for consumers, for shoppers, and they are down trading. And even though if organic's in decline, private label, last time I checked, organic is doing very, very well. So it's not that people are completely leaving organic, it's still very relevant. The second factor, obviously, is that organic used to be a kind of signpost for the health and sustainable choice. There are now many other choices and labels out there, local, vegan, plant-based, etc. So you're playing in a more competitive field, Planet Score, Nutri-Score. There's so many things thrown at consumers. So our job is to make it super clear for consumers to give them a reason to purchase our products. And the third one is the kind of trade retail context, store closures. You know, Renault's had that challenge with his team for the last few years. Range rationalization with Benoit and his team. You've had shelf space squeezing. So there are a number of factors of why we're seeing that against us. And I think the most important thing, and you guys will decide, I guess, over the course of the next 12 hours when you hear the plans for 2024, and they're your plans, let's be honest, is that I fundamentally see that we are doing things differently. What are we doing differently? One, we're saying, okay, well, our shelves are shrinking, our range, our distribution is shrinking. Okay, what do? Well, we go into new spaces. What you saw is food service, massive white space for us. In France now, resource, Renault and the team are resourcing accordingly with Benoit to really go after food service in France. And there's some significant growth plans behind that to add to the other markets that are doing very well in there, like the UK and the Netherlands. And I know David will be looking at that for Spain and Italy. So, you know, going after, connecting with shoppers in other areas, that's what we're doing differently. What else are we doing differently? Well, our innovation program, we're going beyond just an organic label. You know, gone are the days of just sticking organic, putting it on shelf, it's good enough. Now we're doing things like protein, we're doing things like energy, we're doing things like fiber propositions, we're doing things like less sugar, reduced sugar. All things that are consumer benefits that are super relevant today. And that's what we need to continue driving, not just relying on an organic label, it's organic plus, and continue to drive that. And I think that's, you'll see a lot of the innovation, a lot of plans are driving that. The third thing I talked about A&P and that investment. We've got more money, and actually, when you look at, you'll see a little bit on Clipper and Bjorg, but I feel what we're doing is we're communicating to consumers far broader. Yes, organic is a key part of the role, but we're giving consumers a reason to buy and going far beyond connecting with them on an emotional level. And you'll see in a couple of Bjorg, there'll be a new campaign. Laure, Benoit, the team have been working on a very nice direction on Bjorg. It's still work in progress, but there's a good direction there. And Clipper, Hayley will share a little bit of a flavour on Clipper and where we're going to look to take Clipper in terms of communications. And I find that super exciting. So that's different to what we had before. So I think that's the important, hopefully, message that you get is that the strategy is the same, the execution and plan has to adapt to the new context, and there are definitely things that we have in the plan that are very different to before. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. David?
So a last question, which is one of the legs we haven't touched yet, apart from the financial side. But seeing at the results we're trying to achieve, I believe might be you know, in a different situation in terms of cash or access to cash. We've done some interesting M&A in the last few years. My question is a little bit, do we have any gaps? We have a very clear roadmap for core categories, etc. We have identified any gaps, and what is the role of M&A, in the future for Ecotone?
The question is whether we have any gaps. Yeah. Normally you would. Yes. So the role of M&A would be to accelerate the competency you don't have today. So as you say, if you have identified any gaps. So we have some gaps that we have been filling over the past years. They were mostly in the supply chain, So we were mostly, let's say, 5 to 10 years ago, a trading company, to make it very simple. And when we acquired a company like Abba Food, we did improve, let's say, on the upstream supply chain. I think that we have enough of that. If we have some gap in geographies. So, David, when we acquired Biogran in Spain, is that we knew that the Spanish market was recovering just after the crisis, and that the organic market was booming at the time, and we had no organization there, and it will take us 20 years to get there. So that's how I met the family owning Biogran, and we are very happy with that. We do have similar gap in Northern Europe, to be very clear. So together with Han today and Michael, we are going directly. Okay, so we are going step by step on key account. But to my taste, it's a bit, it's normally slow, So before you create a 50 million euro organization, it may take a couple of decades. So in that case, M&A would help. Okay. Now, at the current situation is that each time I want to spend the money, François reminds me that we don't have it. So, so that's why we share one office with François, so that each time he hear me picking up a call of someone who wants to sell his asset, he said, no, you don't engage into that. No, but seriously, we are looking still at opportunities to fill that gap. And we are looking at opportunities that will create a difference for Ecotone in total. Not marginally improvement, but so let's say geography in the Nordics could be, is one. And together with PAI, seriously, if there is a structural deal that will be passed in front of us, we will do what is necessary. But the market of M&A today is at standstill, not only for us, but as well for a lot of people, because the cost of money being quite high, the valuation have not gone down enough to make a decent acquisition.
Thank you, Christophe. Maybe it could be a good moment for some Q&A with the room. So I don't know if there's some mic that can move into the room, and maybe I would propose you to stand up, and if you have questions, of course. And it's good if you stay around here, by the way. We can even be all together as you want, on the stage. Or
I can stay here?
Yeah,
okay,
do the way you want.
Okay, cool.
You pay the room at the end. So. No, okay. So is there someone that wants to ask the...
And perhaps everyone can just stand up for a moment just to energize yourself a bit before we get into the questions. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, it's a very good idea.
You want to sit down?
So, very good, very good.
Okay, so just raise your hand if you have a question, any kind of question. And just also state then who the question is for, ideally speaking. Alex can go in the back there with the microphone. I'm here in the front. Just raise your hand if you have a question on what you just learned from Team Ecotone that you're all part of. I can't see everything because it's quite a sharp light. No, but it's the light. Yeah. Is there not a single question? So you're all clear, ready to go. So we can leave now? Go home? Start working on the plan?